Hey, what's going on guys? This is Wavy. Welcome to this video. In this video, I want to go over order blocks. I'm going to be simplifying what order blocks are, how to identify order blocks, and what are high probability order blocks, and how to use order blocks to find high probability setups when you're day trading using ICT Concepts. Now, before I begin with the video, I want to go over my Discord server here. It's a completely free Discord server where I post my weekly, my daily analysis, my intraday commentary, things that I'm seeing every single day when I'm live trading using ICT Concepts. If you want to join, this is completely free. We also have a few members that send their information here, like their alerts and stuff like that, their trade ideas. So if you want to join, it's completely free. I'm also planning on adding a few more resources here and educational contents for new ICT traders. So if you have any questions about this, you can comment down below or you can join and ask any questions in here. So without further ado, let's go and begin with this video. Now let's talk about order blocks. What are order blocks? So with ICT's definition of order blocks are pretty much areas in the chart where large numbers of orders are executed by institutional traders in the market, and market shows a sudden strong move away from that area. So pretty much it's in retail's term, order blocks are pretty similar to supply and demand zones. So in this example, we can see that price came into this area, this order block area, and we had a nice little reaction here right off that, and price really, reversed off this. So it's like a demand zone here where a lot of buyers are waiting for price to come into this area, and then a lot of orders will get filled here. So there are two different types of order blocks. First one is bullish order block, and pretty much the bullish order block is the last bearish candle or candles before the impulse bullish move up. So it can be just one candle, or it can be two candle, three candle, four candle, right? And bearish order block is pretty much the last bullish candle or candles before the bearish impulse move down. So let me show you an example here in the chart. So if I go to my if I go to my 4-hour chart here, we can see it more clearly. We can see that there's a lot of order blocks here, right? There's a lot of bearish candle right before a bullish move up, and there's a lot of bullish candle right before a bearish move down. So there are a lot of order blocks. Now let me go ahead and show you exactly what it looks like in the chart. So pretty much we can see that this three candles are here would be considered a bullish order block, where price had an impulse move high up after this three bearish candle formed, right? And then this would be a bearish order block where this three candle formed right before an impulse move down. This would be a bearish order block, right? Right here. This would be a bearish order block here. So that would be one order block. This would be like three different order blocks there. A lot of order blocks. This will be a bearish order block. Right here, bullish order block, bullish order block, bullish order block, right? So there's a lot of order blocks. Now people really, tend to confuse this concept, and I used to be one of those people where, you would look at the chart and see a bunch of different candles right before the next, change in price or change in direction. So let me go ahead and talk about the high probability order blocks. So pretty much what are high probability order blocks and how to identify high probability order blocks. High probability order blocks are pretty much order blocks where we expect a rejection, right? Where price will come into there, and we expect a reversal of that area. So to be able to identify high probability order blocks, we want to look at liquidity sweep. We want to look at major liquidity sweep, and then after liquidity sweeps, then the order block will form. This would be considered a high probability order block, bearish order block, high probability bearish order block, right? And even here, we can see that price, swept this liquidity down here, formed these order blocks, and we had this nice little reaction high up. And we can see that price, had the reaction here, but then eventually just sells off because price, downtrend was, sellers were too strong here in this area. And I remember clearly that we had a bearish trend at this day here. So yeah, high probability order blocks are pretty much just waiting for a liquidity sweep before the order block forms, and then you want to look for that order block. Now, how to actually use the order block? So there are different ways to use order blocks, and a lot of people, they tend to just mark it up with a line and call it an order block, right? And when the price comes down into this line, they look for a trade here. And a lot of other people that use order block, they tend to use like zones, and I happen to be the one that uses zone, right? I use zone. and I look for price to come into the zone, look for a entry model in the lower time frame, and then we look for a trade off that. Now, a lot of people, they will use all the order blocks here, like this here, like a whole 3 consecutive candles, right? But for me, personally, I only look at the last candle that formed before a change in the price, change in the direction, right? So I only look at the last candle here. And as you can see, what I do is when the price does come back into this zone, I look for a trade in the lower time frame and I look for an entry. Let's talk about how to use order blocks to find entries on the lower time frame. In order to use order blocks to find entries on the lower time frame, we want to wait for the price to tap into the higher time frame order block. Once the price taps into the order block, we want to check to see if the price swept liquidity before tapping into the order block, or is it about to sweep a major liquidity, or is there any major liquidity nearby, right? So we want to make sure that we wait for a liquidity sweep within the order blocks and then use lower time frame entry model to enter the trades. Now here's an example of a trade that I took here a few days ago. I waited for price to come into this 1 hour order block. I went in my lower time frame. I saw that there was a previous day low here. We swept that, formed an SMT at the low, and higher time frame SMT, and then we also got this SMT at the smaller time frame, 1 minute SMT, as well as this nice little order block that was holding pretty well here. As soon as SMT formed and this candle closed, I took my entry with the stop loss below the SMT low, targeting my clear draw on liquidity, which is the data high up here. Now, I believe I did close everything off somewhere here because we had this large SMT at the high, but we can clearly see this trade here. I use higher time frame order block with lower time frame entry model. Now, let me show you an example of a trade that I took this morning using order block as well as other concepts that I took. So this is the trade that I took here. Caught about 150 points. And pretty much if I go to the chart here and show you exactly where I took the trade, we can see that price, we swept this 1 hour liquidity right here. I know it's a very small liquidity sweep, but we swept this 1 hour liquidity. Now this would be considered a high probability order block for me. And I'll go ahead and mark it up as 1 hour order block. And then as soon as price comes back into this area, I'll look for a trade. Now I'll go on my 50-minute and see if there's any other liquidity level that might sweep around this area. So once this price comes back into this order block, I want to see if there's any liquidity that might sweep. Now I did try a trade off this sweep here when we swept this low, this major 1 hour low, but it failed. So then I took a re-entry after we swept this low. This is the Asia low, and I would really recommend looking into previous session lows and highs. Those are very strong areas for rejection. Now price came into that. I went on my 1 minute time frame. I wasn't really getting anything here with my entry model that I was using today. My entry model that I used was a IFVG. So let me show you exactly what I looked at here. So as soon as price came in this order block, swept this liquidity here. I believe I tried. No, I actually did not try this liquidity. I tried a SMT at somewhere here, but either way, let's talk about the trade that actually worked. So this Asia low, swept here, and as soon as price swept the Asia low, we got this nice little reaction of this 30-second IFVG, as you can see here, and I took my entry right off the close of this candle with a stop loss below the IFVG, which was about 11 to 12 points, something like that. Yep, right there. And my target, what's my target here? My target is going to be this data high that formed. So we had a 10 a.m. data candle. We formed this target, and I was able to catch about 150 points there. So that's how I use order block. So let's recap what I went over here. So pretty much we're talking about order blocks. When we're talking about order blocks, we want to make sure that we understand the high probability order blocks, pretty much just looking for liquidity sweep and then using that order block after liquidity sweeps. And then to be able to use order blocks for entries, we want to make sure that we wait for price to come into that order block. And then we want to wait for a liquidity sweep within that order block before or after. And then for me, I personally only use the last candle before the price changing the direction because this allows me to give a top tick and bottom tick trades. Now, if I were to use the whole zone, this would be a big order block, right? So it's going to be a little bit confusing for me to just take trades, up here. It'll be better for me to just wait and bottom tick trades so that I can catch the best RR when I'm day trading. So that is pretty much it, guys, and I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you have any questions about this, leave it in the comment section below, or you can come to my Discord channel and I will answer any questions that you guys have. All right, see ya.